In his 4 years at Florida, Galen Hall has made the Gators a perennial powerhouse in the Southeast Conference. The big surge has come from his 4-year starter at quarterback, Kerwin Bell, the man who's led the Gators in passing and total offense in each of those 4 years. But in '87, his load has been lessened by freshman sensation Emmitt Smith. Smith's rushing has helped Florida get off to a 2-0 start in the SEC. Tonight, he and the Gators are hungry for Tiger bait. Into his rookie season, LSU's Mike Archer has enjoyed his team's success. The Tigers have clawed their way to an unbeaten record and a top 10 ranking. But Archer knows the past is history. The SEC season is upon him now, and if the Tigers are to repeat as champs, they'll need an All-American performance from Wendell Davis. Precision passing from Tom Hudson. Their title defense begins tonight. Florida and LSU, it's live, it's next.
There'll be 80,000 here tonight at LSU's Tigers Stadium, where it's simply more fun to play at night than it is during the day. A budding superstition here in Baton Rouge that night games are luckier than day games. And another legend that's growing at Tigers Stadium is the South End Zone, where they've had 11 goal line stands in the past 3 years. They say the fans are just a little crazier in the South End Zone, and they love to support that defense. LSU is tough at home. They've won 16 of their last 22, but Florida, coming in tonight, has won their last 3 games here at Tigers Stadium. And speaking of Gators, how was your Gator dinner, Jim?
Well, it wasn't too bad. It was tough getting back into the stadium, though, as 79,000. The tailgating began, as we pointed out, way into the week, back on Thursday. Back deep, Kerry Watkins, number 4. Ronnie Lewis will kick it off. Tigers won the toss, elected to take the ball to start the second half. The first half underway. The Gators and the Tigers at the 2. Kerry Watkins. Up across the 20, and here come the Florida Gators offense. Kerwin Bell at quarterback.
Great player for 4 years for Florida, and the running backs, of course, are led by the big one, Emmitt Smith. He's an outstanding player, just a freshman, and he'll run all over the place. The receivers are young. They've had a little problem holding on to the ball early in the season. Stacy Simmons is the best of the 2. David Williams, the outstanding tackle for Florida, he's a great one. The middle 3 will go against that front 3 of LSU. They've got to do the job to get Emmitt Smith loose.
Emmitt Smith over the right side, blocking by Davis and Sarwiski, tackled by Darrell Phillips. Let's meet the defense of the Fighting Tigers.
It's been a big surprise for LSU this year. That front 3 has played very well. Tommy Clapp is the leader. He's having an outstanding year, a senior. The outside linebackers, Sancho and Hill, also big play guys, and they've been a big factor in LSU's success. Marlborough's been hurt. It'll be interesting to see the way he plays today. Hazard is steady as they come. Bryant, a big surprise. He's done very well in that good LSU secondary, and the safeties are as solid as you can get. This is a very, very fine secondary for the Tigers.
Apparently there is something wrong with one of the officials and the communication, so the clock is stopped with 14:15 left to go in the first quarter. The second play from scrimmage, the line of scrimmage, the 23-yard line after a 2-yard carry by Emmitt Smith, number 22, the freshman, the walk-on out of Pensacola, Florida. And they are banking very heavily on him for Florida's future.
And one of the things about Florida is they do not have a whole lot of depth.
Clock is inactive. Keep the 25-second clock on the field.
We're going to get into that later. They do not have a lot of depth. They're coming off probation. They've had some problems with their scholarships. They cannot afford injuries. They've lost Octavius Gould. He left the team. He was their starting tailback when the season began. So Smith, while he has to play well, he also has to be durable.
Galen Hall, best described by some as low-key, laid-back, honest, unassuming, a good old boy, and unflappable. And there is Mike Archer, the 27th head coach at LSU. And his record in his very first year, still undefeated. For 3 years, he was Bill Arnsparger's assistant here. And now Arnsparger, the athletic director at Florida, 2nd and 8. Lomack is the flanker back. Simmons wide left. Williams and Smith in the backfield. Motion across by Lomack. Kerwin Bell unloads, gets it to Stacy Simmons, and Simmons stopped at the 25-yard line. Kevin Guidry, the senior out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, helped out by Darrell Phillips, the nose guard, helped out on the tackle out in the flat.
We'll talk about technique all night. Kevin Guidry, the cornerback, did a super job getting his hands on the blocker, playing him off, and kept himself in position to make the tackle. LSU's defense, coached by Pete Jenkins, technically as sound as you'll find in the entire country.
3rd and 7. Talk about a swarming defense. When's the last time you saw the nose tackle out on the flat gang tackle? The draw. Emmitt Smith, first down yardage and more at the 34-yard line. Chris Carrier, the weak side safety out of Eunice, Louisiana, on the stop.
3rd long against an I team. You have to be very careful against Florida. They run the sprint out draw all day. See how he sets back in there. Bell turns his back. Very difficult to defend against, but on 3rd down you should be waiting for that. He should not have this much running room. A good job by the offensive line of Florida.
Wide to the left, Tony Lomack, top of your screen. Stacy Simmons, the freshman, driven backwards by Clint James, a sophomore out of New Orleans, number 70, 6'6", 253. Hurt his knee in the spring, has come back very strong, and he drives the Pensacola freshman backwards.
Interesting. James is a little better on the pass rush. He switches off with Dunbar all the time, Carl Dunbar, but James is really the pass rush guy in there on a running down and doing a good job.
Line of scrimmage, the 34. Lomack and Simmons slotted out left and right. 2nd and 10. Audible by Kerwin Bell. It's open over the middle. That is Anthony Williams dancing up to the 42-yard line in the grasp of Willie Bryant, the senior left side corner out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
Bell doing a nice job sitting down in there, Jim. Also the offensive line of Florida, which is a key here, holding them out. The fact that they've been able to run a lot better, the Gators, their passing game should be a lot stronger. That little play action will hold the defense.
Those stats in his freshman year. Ernie Mills, a freshman, checks in number 14. He's slotted wide left. On 3rd and 2, the defense swarming at the 42. Emmitt Smith stacked up. Tommy Clapp, the senior out of Gretna, Louisiana, 6'4", 265, bent him backwards.
Couldn't pick up the number, but watch behind Smith. The backside of the LSU defense does a great job closing. He'll be run down from the back. You see that? They got off their block, ran him down from the back because that eye takes so long to get to the line of scrimmage.
Jamie McAndrew hangs it up high. Jimmy Young fields it at the 11. Stacked up just shy of the 15. A 46-yard punt, a 4-yard return. Let's meet the LSU offense.
Tommy Hodson, when he gets done, he'll be shooting for a Heisman before he's a senior or when he's a senior at LSU. A great player. Victor Jones, the fullback. Harvey Williams needs to break loose in this game. They need to establish the running game. The receivers as good as you'll find anywhere. Davis will be an All-American. Kitchen's All-Conference. McGee is a super threat. The tackles, look out for Packnett. It's his first start. There's been an injury and he's in there. Albert Gamo, Andelsek, big strong kids.
Davis to the top of the screen. McGee at the bottom. Hodson will fire. First down at the 28-yard line. Rogie McGee. Penalty flag to be checked out. Ricky Mulberry was back there on the coverage, but McGee just turned it inside for a 13-yard pickup. And that first down will be called back. Let's meet the defense of Florida.
Jeff Roth is a super middle guard. He's a great one. Rondy Weston. These guys are playing very well in the early season for Florida, as are their linebackers. The outside linebackers. Charlton is a great pass rusher in the mold of Lawrence Taylor of the Giants. Inside guys, they feel they can pass on these two inside guys. They're good run linebackers, but not too good on pass coverage. In the secondary, the cornerbacks are not great cornerbacks, but they'll need some help, and they'll get it from the safeties, who are outstanding players. Williams, a tremendous hitter. Lewis Oliver, among the best in the country. Great players at safety.
The penalty has been stepped off against LSU. A 10-yard penalty for holding. It marks it back just outside the 10. So it's 1st and 15. It was a 5-yard penalty. Excuse me. Harvey Williams up across the 13-yard line. Knifed down by Kerry Watkins, number 4.
One of the things the LSU coaches are concerned about is the team speed defensively for Florida. They're afraid they cannot outrun the Gator defense. The holes close very quickly. These guys are quick, and when you go laterally like they did with Williams there, they're afraid the Gators can run them down. We'll see earlier in the game if that's possible.
Line of scrimmage, the 13. It's 2nd and 13. Hodson can run. Out of bounds at the 24. He'll be 1 yard shy of the first down, and depending on the spot, it might be close enough for a measurement. Clifford Charles chased him out of bounds.
Number 96, Jeff Roth, middle guard for Florida, 25 career tackles for loss. LSU knows it. They put their big people right on him, give Hodson plenty of time to throw, although he runs on this play. But that's what Roth will see at middle guard all night. They don't want him to get into their backfield.
First down for LSU. They said he crossed the 25-yard line. Hodson did. A 13-yard pickup. Victor Jones, number 34, the lone running back, as Hodson bends in. Jones dances behind his left tackle, Jim Hubics. Dickens on the stop, number 40, out of Plant City, Florida. Senior, 6'1", 227. And another flag to be checked out. Preliminary indication, it's against LSU. Early mistakes have been costly to the Tigers.
Personal foul, 15 yards offense.
15 yards stepped off after LSU picked up a first down at the 25. 9:47 left to go in a scoreless first quarter. The second half of our doubleheader here on ESPN. And of course, coming up at halftime, Tim Brando with scores and highlights. Another big day in college football. 2 penalties so far against the Tigers for 15 yards. The line of scrimmage will be the 18.
Jim, one of the key matchups here are the 2 tackles. They're both sophomores for LSU against that excellent defensive front for Florida. We're going to watch these guys, Pecknett and Hubics, all night.
Again, the 25-second clock inoperative. The time is being kept down on the field. Rogie McGee comes out wide to the right side. Davis is inside. Wendell Davis, number 82, the slot to the right. Harvey Williams. Oh, what a collision at the 8. Jarvis Williams, a 6-footer, 198 pounds, big for a strong safety. And you saw the collision at the 8.
This guy makes you remember, and we're going to show you Harvey Williams. Look for number 26, Jarvis Williams, to come into the picture. Now, he didn't even get a good shot at him, and he turned him around.
His nickname is the Hitman. You saw why. 2nd and 21. Little delay. Harvey Williams, big hole. Almost back to the original line of scrimmage. Ricky Mulberry on the stop, blocking over on that left side by Jim Hubics again. Watch 79.
Well, when you can't out-physical a team, and I think LSU's going to have a problem here, you can trick them a little bit, a draw. They're playing soft because they have so far to go for that first down, but Williams does a great job in the open field, getting loose and getting up for an 18-yard gain.
Motion by McGee. Hodson on 3rd and 8. Over the middle. The 34-yard line out of the backfield, Harvey Williams, but he's about a yard shy of first down yardage. It'll bring up 4th and 1.
Williams hooked up a little short. The Florida defense did an excellent thing there. They dropped right at the first down marker, and Harvey turned up in front of the defense, and he was short. The ball was short, and he had to come back for it, and left him a yard short of the first down.
9 punts on the season for Matt DeFrank. His longest, 57, averaging just under 41 yards. His career average over 40 yards a punt. And back deep, that is Jarvis Williams. DeFrank, a line drive. Williams fields on the dead run. Breaks it across the 35. Wrestled down at the 40. The Gators with good field position after a 35-yard punt, a 9-yard return. We're scoreless, and we'll take timeout.
Introducing Listerine Zero. We removed the alcohol.
The Noles and Canes renew their classic rivalry in a pivotal ACC showdown. Florida State Miami or USC Stanford. Saturday at 8 on ABC.
The moon over Death Valley. The Gators nothing. The Tigers nothing. Wide to the left, Ernie Mills, the freshman. Wide to the right, Willie Snead. First and 10 Gators. Emmitt Smith. Close to first down yardage at midfield. Willie Bryant on the tackle. Now, the defensive coaches of LSU said you seldom get a head-on shot at Emmitt Smith. You saw a good indication right there. Gives you that hip, takes it away, and he seems to run better at a 45-degree angle.
He certainly does. He's an inside-the-tackle runner, and out of the eye, he gets all that vision, and he gets all the blockers in front of him. Sancho got caught inside there on that play. I don't think that'll happen again to number 52 for LSU.
First down for the Gators at midfield. Over on the right side by Tracy Daniels, the junior, and by Richard Starrisky, the sophomore out of Brayton from Florida. Darrell Phillips, the nose tackle, on the stop again.
Well, what LSU wanted to do in this game, they're a 50 front, which is an odd front. They felt they needed to go to an even front a little bit. That means cover the guards and keep leverage on this guy, a lot like they do for Tony Dorsett. Try to keep leverage, play a little soft, and don't open up seams on defense for this guy to run through. Emmitt Smith, he's just too tough.
Got his man at the 35. That's Walter Odom. Another first down. The senior tight end out of Miami, Florida, 6'4", 233. Known more as a blocker than a pass receiver. Missed all of 86 because of Prop 48.
Here's a guy who's just happy to be playing football. Bell does a good job of looking him off. You see, he looks down the center of the field, and Odom wide open in the short flat. They pick him up, but not before he gets a first down. They also faked Emmitt Smith down the middle. They had a lot of people out and good protection.
Snead at the top of your screen. Mills at the bottom. First and 10. The Gators off right tackle. Davis and Starwisky again. Willie McGrady, the freshman, number 38. And in talking with Galen Hall yesterday, he's maybe the most pleasant surprise. The fullback of the future, what they say.
McGrady's a great athlete. He's just a freshman. He's a guy that played nose guard for him. They have depth problems. He's been on defense already this year, and they feel that he will be the blocker for Emmitt Smith in the future.
Second and a long 7. The middle's wide open. Bell chased out of the pocket. Now he's got a man and dropped at the 24-yard line. Tony Lomack heard footsteps. And the foot and the feet of Eric Hill were pursuing.
Number 73, Dave Williams, on the offensive line for Florida. He had back surgery in the spring. It's a guy who's been in a hospital now. Number 73, you see him right there in the middle top of your screen. His back looks like it's fine to me, doing a great job. And he gave Bell a lot of time. Ball was dropped. That's been a problem for Florida in the early going. Drop passes.
Bell, 3 out of 4, 21 yards. Third and again a long 7. Safety valves it out. Emmitt Smith crawls to the 33. Darrell Phillips made the tackle secure. And it looks like Galen Hall will go with a field goal unit. The deepest penetration so far. The Gators drive down to the 34-yard line. 5:15 and counting. Robert McGinney, a transfer from Auburn in '85. This will be a 50-yard field goal. Hash mark far side. It's on its way. Plenty of distance, and it is good. But there's a penalty flag to be checked out. Boy, that would have been good from 60 yards out. Penalty is against LSU, so obviously the Gators will decline the penalty. And McGinty, the transfer out of Auburn, hit one from 53 yards out while he was with the Tigers against Cincinnati. Now let's see. Kerwin Bell will come out. It was 4th and 7. Would you take the 3 points off the board? Go for a first down on 4th and 2?
This is a tough decision. They're away. First on the board. If it was a first down, they're going to decline it and take the points.
Tough to take points off the board in the Tiger Den. A 50-yard field goal by McGinty, and the Gators lead the Tigers 3-0.
Luis Oliver ended the threat when he recovered a fumble by Louisiana State's Harvey Williams in the end zone. Florida could not capitalize on the turnover, and as we pick up the action, the Tigers have the ball first down and 10 on their own 23 after a Florida punt. 11 minutes, 51 seconds remain in the first half.
Another walk-off against LSU, their second unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the night. So instead of starting up near the 40-yard line, they're backed up now to the 23. Egloff and Martin are the running backs. You look into the eyes of Tommy Hodson. Sam Martin up across the 25 near the 27. Storyline, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It started early. McGiddy, a 50-yard field goal that would have been good from 60 yards out. And then Harvey Williams, Kevin, fumbled at the goal line.
You know, Florida last year had 8 turnovers in this game and lost to LSU down in Gainesville. So turnovers have always played a pretty big part in this series. They hit hard and they make a lot of mistakes because of it.
Hodson 5 for 5 and 49 yards. 2nd and 7. Safety valves it out. A little stutter step near the 30, and he's bumped out of bounds at the 32. Lewis Oliver, number 18, the free safety, came over. Egloff through the block.
Kerry Watkins had a shot at him early. Number 4 did not make the play, did not make the tackle. The corners for Florida need a little seasoning. The safeties, as I said earlier, are better. They're better players. They're more sophisticated, and those corners, they have to keep from making mistakes and be able to make tackles out there.
Can't argue with 6 for 6. 11-12 left to go before halftime. Very fast-paced game. Hodson 7 for 7. Wendell Davis. Kerry Watkins on the coverage, but you cannot cover Wendell Davis one-on-one on the slant-in pattern.
Well, they've got double coverage there, Jim, and you know what they're doing. They got him coming down on those short patterns, but the key is they're giving Hodson time to throw. Now here's Charlton again. Ubix, the sophomore tackle. We talked about him. He pushes Charlton out behind Hodson. Hodson able to get Wendell on the crossing pattern. Here's that short crossing pattern in front of the linebackers for the All-American. Turns up, gets the first down.
2 catches, 41 yards. Hodson airborne on first down. Fires on a rope. Got his man. First down inside Florida territory. Tony Moss. 8 out of 8 for Hodson. A 15-yard pickup spotted at the 45 of Florida.
There's no defense against this play when you got a guy who runs a good pattern, finds the open part in the zone, and the timing is perfect. See how he just curls up, and Hodson, the ball is already on its way. There's no defense for that. Just pull him down for another first down. Hodson on the mark. Tony Moss, good pattern.
Moss, a former running back, had 3,000 yards rushing in high school. Hodson pump fake over the middle. There's Williams checking it. Sammy Martin, 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. Martin, the senior out of New Orleans. He's only 5'11", 175. Good speed.
Key to that play, Jim, was the play action. It held. It was a first down play. First of all, LSU, Mike Archer took a little flack last week for taking chances, but he threw on first down to a back there. He was able to hold the defense and make it work. It was a good play call.
Hodson perfect on the night. 1st and 10. 10 minutes left before halftime. There goes number 23, Martin, belted backwards for a loss of 2. Jarvis Williams, one of the best strong side safeties in the country, number 26. He's the key to the secondary and the defense for the Gators.
He is. He's a guy they can't afford to lose, and neither is this guy, 56, Charlton. Best way to neutralize a guy who's a great player is run at him. He got a lesson from Martin right there on not to cross his feet.
Hodson 9 for 9, 101 yards passing. 2nd, a long 11. Was he in bounds? He was at the 5. Sam Martin, an incredible effort, dragging those feet. A 20-yard pickup. Hodson 10 for 10, 121 yards. 1st and goal.
We talked about Hodson coming back after a bad week against Ohio State. You can't replace athletic ability. Hodson going off on his back foot perfectly. That's a good call by the official standing right there. Oliver trying to cover, but that was just athletic ability on both ends by Martin and Hodson.
Charlton Egloff, a 6-footer, 209 110-pounder. He's also a member of the LSU wrestling team.
Florida has a statistic, Jim, that they run away from Charlton. The opponents run away from Charlton 70% of the time. LSU having none of that. They're going right at him. They'd rather run at him than have him chase it down from behind. Number 56 is just too quick and too good a player to let him run around loose, so they're blocking him and running at him.
I'd run away from him too. 6'3", 235. He bench presses 340. A fumble. Penalty flags are down. Hodgson fell on the football. 8:42. Clock is stopped. 3-0 the Gators. A 50-yard field goal, and that's been all the scoring.
Well, this will drive you crazy down there. Mike Archer's
Dead ball. Ball start. Offense.
He's just got to raise the hackles on his neck. They fumble at the goal line. Look at the penalties. 1 for 5, 6 for 60, and that is obviously the difference in the game is the fumble by Williams on the goal line, and now that. And that really hurts you. It puts you in an obvious, not so obvious passing down, but one more play without gaining yardage, and they'll tip off what they're going to do.
Davis and McGee slotted wide left. A delay to Williams. Williams, who fumbled the last time he had the ball, chopped down at the 8. Mark Murray, the freshman out of Zellwood, Florida, 54 on the stop.
Now here's where you see the damage the penalty did, because they were on the 5 or 6 yard line. They could have run it in. They had 3 downs to run it in from there, or else kick a field goal, and then they lost it. They had to move back, and now they're really in trouble. It's an obvious passing down, and Florida can play pass.
Tony Moss comes wide to the left. Wendell Davis wide to the right, upper right-hand portion of your screen. Hodgson 10 for 10, 121 yards. Too much time. Costly penalties. And a fumble by Harvey Williams will turn coach's hair gray.
Dead ball. Delay of the game. Offense.
Of course, they cannot see the clock. Again, the 25-second time being kept on the field. So when Hodgson wants to look, that's exactly what he sees.
You know, last week against Ohio State, Mike Archer did not want the field wetted down, and there was a mistake, and they wet the field down, and he felt that it cost him because he had the faster team. And now with the clock, so LSU, the technical things here at LSU are a problem.
7:23 and counting. It's now 3rd and 14. Spotted at the hash mark 5. Hodgson puts it up in the end zone. Davis is open, and it's out of the end zone. Boy, he was open on a little turnout pattern, but Tommy Hodgson could not see him because pressure put on by a 6'4", 272-pound defensive tackle, Rondi Weston.
If you notice, LSU does very well when they can keep the Florida defense off balance, which they were doing. But when they got into trouble on that penalty and became predictable, Florida came right after him and really had no trouble pressuring Hodgson. So LSU's game plan is to keep them off balance, run when they think they're going to pass, and vice versa.
The sidewinder, the left footer, the southpaw. This will be a 31-yard field goal try. Hash mark from the far side for David Browndyke. We're tied at 3. 7:11 left to go in this Southern shootout. You like Creole cooking? Come to Baton Rouge.
It's embarrassing to admit.
In their last 3 games, the Florida offense has scored 113 total points, an average of 37 points per game. But with just 7:11 left to go in the first half here in the Tiger Den, we're tied 3-all. Ronnie Lewis, the senior out of New Orleans, hangs it high at the 25. A collision, and near the 26-yard line is where LSU and the defensive unit has done a good job. That last scoring drive capped off a 3-all tie. 11 plays, 62 yards. They worked on the clock, and Browndyke banged it through from 31.
Talk about the LSU defense and the Florida offense. Pete Jenkins, the coordinator, said he likened the Florida offensive game now to a wishbone. Very patient. They'll just keep plodding along until they break a big one. They'll give up some yardage, but they're going to pound at you until they get this kid loose. Smith.
No, 4 for 5, 21 yards. Goes up top on 1st and 10. Picks up the first down. A diving catch by Willie Snead. Ron Sancho on the stop. Rice up over Texas. Boilermakers and new coach Freddie Akers drawing closer. Howard Schnellenberger having some problems in Louisville. Boston College looking to rebound after last week's loss to Penn State.
Pittsburgh not giving up many points.
And we'll see Pittsburgh next week as they host Notre Dame. There goes Emmitt Smith, the super freshman, the walk-on. 8,804 yards in high school, the third highest total in prep history. And how's he done his last 30 games?
Yeah, well, the guy's rushed for 100 yards in 30 straight games that he's started. He's rushed for 7 times for 41 yards tonight, which is not bad. This is a super back, a great back, and he'll get better.
And a walk-on. Second, a long 4. Smith, and you saw the extra effort. He was stopped head-on at the 45 by Darrell Phillips. And the young freshman, 5'10", 185 pounds. Boy, is he power-packed. Just kept on churning and picked up the extra yard. 3rd and 2.
Tiger defense doing a great job, just a great job. They play that technique, that low to the ground, their hips square, their shoulders square. They play off the blocks, keep leverage, and Smith just has nowhere to go on the cutback, and that's his strength.
First down, no, he dropped the ball at the 48-yard line. Anthony Williams had it, turned upfield before he had control. Greg Jackson drove him backwards, and the Gators will have to punt.
Kermit Bell, 7th in the Southeastern Conference in passing. Coaches say he's right on the mark. They're just dropping the ball. And you can't argue with that. That ball was in Williams' hands, and he just dropped it.
Jamie McAndrew, the punter. Oh, did he hang this one high? Jimmy Young wants the fair catch. Will let it hit at the 7. And it will be dead inside the 5. Great job by McAndrew. A 53-yard punt inside the 5. 5:22 left to go. We're all tied up. The Gators 3, the Tigers 3.
Tonight, millions of people will go to sleep.
The unbeaten Tigers look to survive another SEC showdown as they head to the Swamp to take on the Gators. LSU, Florida, Saturday at 7:30 on ESPN.
Not an empty seat in the house. Just under 79,000 have jammed into Baton Rouge. It's known as Death Valley on a Saturday night. Mike Archer said that the players even get excited when they practice under the lights. They had 11 fights this week getting ready for this game amongst themselves. Like a full moon. And the biorhythms change. Not much doing over on that right side for Victor Jones. Dickens on the stop. This is an important series for LSU because they have to get at least a first down, Kevin, and try to give some room for their punter.
A tough spot for them to be in the line. Look at Webby Burnett, 46. He's one of those players that the Florida coaches would rather not use. That's him laying on the ground. And not because he's not a good player, but he's young. It takes time to learn and mature. And because of their depth problems, they have to use him.
Will misfire. Wendell Davis, a little bump and run. There is Tommy Hodson. Threw that interception last week against Ohio State. Not his fault, though, because in talking to the coaches, it was actually the fault of the intended receiver, a misread.
The one going in, the one that Rogan got going in was a misread. The receiver went the wrong way. He was under pressure. He had to throw it. The other one, the second interception, they did say that Hodson was getting a little greedy on that one. But that was a good pass because he threw it where only Wendell Davis could have gotten it or it would have gone out of bounds.
They need 8. Good protection over the middle, and the crossing pattern is Wendell Davis at the 12. Boy, he looks like a paddle wheeler going down the Mississippi when he gets those knees cranked up.
It's a great receiver there, Jim. And you notice Florida did another great thing there. They dropped right at the first down marker, made Wendell cut underneath the coverage. And when he caught it, he was short of the first down. And that's just good coaching from the Florida staff, telling their people where to drop and forcing the great receiver to come up short.
From the back of Matt DeFrank, the senior from Fort Walton Beach, Jarvis Williams awaits back at the 35. It's a high comes up and fields and gets bumped at the 42. 1st and 10 for the Florida Gators. We're deadlocked 3-all. Just under 4 minutes left in the first half.
Now there's a whole new way to get your abs firm, tightened, toned, and sexy without ever doing a crunch or...
From the 44, there goes the super freshman Emmitt Smith down to the 35-yard line. Eric Hill on the stop. We talked about that interception that Hodson threw last week. And head coach Mike Archer got his first batch of hate mail. Now, Mike and his wife Barbara were walking out of the stadium last week after the game, and a fan who'd been in the Suds a little too long yelled an obscenity that Barbara took exception to. She streamlined over for the fan, had a couple of words, threatened to punch him in the nose if she ever heard language like that again toward her husband. First down for the Gators. Down inside the 25-yard line goes Stacy Simmons, the sophomore out of Clearwater. Kevin Guidry, the right side corner, bumped him out, helped out by Chris Carrier.
2nd and short, and what they do is Bell, with all this experience, he's up there for 4 years, remember, started as a freshman. He's recognizing the defense. 3rd and short, they're probably in a run defense. A lot of people, 8-man line, so Bell calls it. Bang, it's open. Outside for a first down. There it is.
Bell, 6 out of 8, 43 yards. Motion by Tony Lomax. A lot of motion forward by Emmitt Smith. Bounces off a wall of tacklers and explodes around the left side. Greg Jackson wrestled him out of bounds. Emmitt Smith showing the poise of a senior in a penalty flag. Perhaps a late hit. Already LSU has been sacked with 2 personal foul penalties.
I think you used the correct word there, Jim, is poise. The kid has just tremendous poise and vision. I don't think this was a late hit. I think he rode him a little long. He just kind of stayed with it. He hit him in the field of play, but he went out. He went out of bounds with him too far.
Out of face mask on the defensive team. My ball foul be first down.
Let's take a look at Smith on the left side here. James plays it real well. They stand up the offensive people. But there's that poise you talked about, Jim, just bouncing outside, and LSU can't be faulted for that. He just got outside. And that's why, I guess, why they couldn't get loose. He had a hold of him right there by the face mask.
Jackson, the culprit. Smith, a 10-yard gain, 11 carries, 61 yards. First and goal for the Gators. What speed, what poise, a touchdown. The freshman, Emmitt Smith. He just outran the coverage.
In case you're wondering, that was the south end zone.
Some of the Gator offensive linemen kind of rubbing it in the faces of the LSU fans. The freshman Emmitt Smith scores, but the other freshman, Willie McGrady, Galen Hall's most pleasant surprise, set it up with a terrific block around the right side. Here comes the try for extra point with 2:45 to go. Steve Ewing will hold. Robert McGinney with a 50-yard field goal bangs it through the uprights, and it's a 10-3 LSU deficit. Watch 38 Willie McGrady throw the block for 22 Emmitt Smith.
And we talked about the south end zone. This is what they want here. They want to get him going laterally. McGrady, 38 out in front, buries the contained man, but it seems like the Tigers are in position. Miss there. Another miss. He's not supposed to be that fast. Number 90, Marlboro, the linebacker, in good position, doing exactly as he should. He has leverage. He needs to keep his feet. That's one problem there. You don't dive, you keep your feet so you have something on it when you grab them. You keep those feet churning.
2 missed tackles by LSU, not exactly in the mold of the Chinese Bandits. We'll take time out.
Both teams traded possessions after Emmitt Smith's 7-yard touchdown run, but neither team could score. And as we return to the game, LSU has the ball first down and 10 near their own 15-yard line with 7 minutes, 12 seconds left in the third quarter.
Halloween's still a couple of weeks away. I told you they've been tailgating since Thursday night.
Yeah, that's the result of a tailgating.
And sleeping in a sleeping bag for 3 nights. Hodson 15 of 23, 169 yards, but 0 for 3 this half. They'll keep it on the ground. Sammy Martin explodes across that left side, or was that Harvey Williams? Williams 22, blocking by Hubix and Rodriguez.
Well, they've used 4 nose guards, Florida has, and it's not lost on the LSU Tigers. They're starting to pound it up the middle behind Albergamo, Andalsak, and Rodriguez, as you said. And they have some pretty good linemen. They're not all that physical, but Roth is out of the game for Florida.
2nd and 2. 3rd and 2. Pat Moore, 6-footer, 220 pounds from Pensacola, a walk-on. The first true freshman to start since Orlando Johnson.
Well, when you feel you have a weakness, you want to move people around, you stun everybody, and that's exactly what happens. They got Moore coming in on that blitz. He meets the block and makes the tackle. Now, Moore is he's from the same high school as Emmitt Smith, an interesting story, and a lot of people feel like he followed Emmitt here because Emmitt had such great success.
And the coaches will tell you he's just starting to emerge as a team leader for the Gators. Tough, quiet young man. Hodson airborne on 3rd and 2. All kinds of time. Bad ball, incomplete. Now, why on 3rd and 2 would you throw it 25 yards upfield?
Well, I don't know. I think he thought he was open, but he wasn't. But that looked very much like pass interference. It looked like Oliver.
Yeah, but you threw into double coverage.
Yeah, well, it was not a good pass, you're right, but he also looked like it was pass interference to me. I don't know why he would against the wind, and it certainly didn't turn out too well.
Jarvis Williams, the hitman for the Gators, back deep. Matt DeFrank, all set to punt number 3. They've got the return set on. This is a good kick. Backs Williams up to the 32. The fair catch, no return. 5:47 left to go, and a 45-yard punt. So on the exchange of punts, LSU picked up some good yardage, but it's still the Gators by 7. Archie Griffin of Ohio State, Tony Dorsett, Herschel Walker, Bo Jackson, and Emmitt Smith, 522 yards, the first 4-game yardage. Better than all of those famous names. Motion by Lomax. Nothing doing for Emmitt Smith. Oh, gang tackling his 3 Tigers. Tommy Clapp leading the charge, got there.
Emmitt will learn to go down in those situations instead of taking a pounding. I think I said Moore followed Emmitt Smith. It was Smith that followed Moore. A lot of people feel that Smith came because Moore had such success at Florida. And, if in fact that's true, Moore becomes even more valuable if he can attract a running back like that.
Emmitt Smith, by going over the 100-yard mark for the 4th straight game, just the 2nd back in Florida history to accomplish that feat. Jimmy DuBose back in '75, the only other. 2nd and 9. Incomplete. A dangerous pass because Sancho was out there in the flat again. Stacy Simmons open for a moment. A little indecision on the part of Kerwin Bell. First half passing, 6 out of 8, 43 yards, 0 for 6 in the second half. But in fairness to Kerwin, the last one, the second to last pass he threw, was dropped by a wide open Stacy Simmons down to 25 of LSU. So 0 for 6, a little misleading. 3rd and 9, and a big 3rd down play both for the offense and the defense. Tigers look like they're in prevent defense. Delay to Emmitt Smith. Look out! Tripped up at the 43-yard line, but not before he picks up almost 10 yards, close to a first down. Chris Carrier, boy, had he gotten away from Carrier, he was gone.
Well, they're giving him the draw play. Their defensive alignment is so wide. The front 3 are so wide. They're giving him that first 3 yards, and he's going to take it. But what he does after the first 3 yards is all Emmitt Smith. What a cut. That's an O.J. Simpson cut on a dime, and Carrier saves a touchdown. A first down, and great individual effort by the freshman.
A collision at the 48-yard line goes Anthony Williams out of Tampa, and Chris Carrier was there, helped out by Ron Sancho again. Tulane on the short end.
Oh, Oh, Howard Schnellenberger there at Louisville.
Gophers of John Gutekunst trying to stay unbeaten, untied in the Big Ten. Texas trailing Rice by 3. And Arkansas for the second weekend in a row. Trouble in the Southwest Conference, eh?
Well, you got TCU beating Arkansas and Texas A&M, both of them powers. A&M's already lost to Texas Tech. Got an injury here.
There's Darrell Phillips, the nose tackle. Tigers can't afford to lose him. 6'2", 245, the heart of that defensive front.
Yeah, he's a good player. These guys get blocked. Nose guard gets blocked from so many different angles that they just get beat up. They're like centers. They take a big pounding.
2nd and 5. First down and more. Emmitt Smith off to the races. First down at the 34 of LSU. Tiger defensive coaches, Kevin, were hoping that they could string Emmitt Smith out. He runs much better at a 45-degree angle, so he doesn't run so well east to west. Well, he runs pretty well.
Well, they replaced Phillips here, Jim, with Clapp. Clapp gets buried, and that flash you saw was Emmitt Smith going right through the line. There he is, and now this kid's tough. But this kid has as a freshman, watch him lower his shoulder and move the ball and protect him. That's a freshman, puts the ball in the outside arm and uses the inside shoulder to protect the ball and himself.
1st and 10. There goes Cedric Smith. Out of Enterprise, Alabama, Chris Carrier came up and made the hit. And anytime you've got your strong side safety making a tackle, you know you've got problems with your linebackers and your up front men. Of course, Darrell Phillips is out. And Mike Archer very concerned on the sideline now because his team trails by 7. There are about 18 minutes left to go in the game. And his offense has done next to nothing since a mistake-prone first half.
And the middle guard affects, when he goes out, he'll affect those linebackers, because if they can single block the middle guard or push him back, it creates havoc with the inside back.
Smith again. The straight on. Inside the 30, down at the 29. Again, this is a young man who was a senior in high school last year, coming in here to Death Valley in front of 79,000 fans and putting on just a tremendous effort.
Well, what LSU did there, Jim, they did what you had described earlier. They forced him to run laterally across the field. When they did that, they were able to chase him and pull him down. That's what you have to do against this guy. If he gets that quick start inside the tackles and into the linebacker area, he's gone.
Interesting decision coming up now for Galen Hall. It'll be 4th and 2. He's made the decision. The field goal team is coming out.
Oh, he's got to go because that puts him a touchdown and a 2-point conversion out in front. That won't help LSU to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. On top of that, he's got the wind at his back. Eric Hill made a great play coming from the backside on that to run down Emmitt Smith.
McGinney with a 50-yarder to start the game. This from 42 has plenty of distance, but it's no good. Wide to the left. And the crowd of 79,000 here in Death Valley gets back into the game. 16:39 left to go. Tigers trail by 7.
Tonight, millions of people will go to sleep
at 8 on ABC. College football lives here.
Along with Kevin Kiley, I'm Jim Kelly, and welcome back to Baton Rouge, where the Tigers trail by 7. 1:39 left to go in the third quarter. Hodson 15 of 24, 169 on the night, but 0 for 4 this quarter. He's just hit 2 of his last 8 passes. Slant off the left side goes Victor Jones. Huey Richardson, the freshman linebacker out of Atlanta, Georgia. Good freshman crop for Galen Hall.
One of the things about the Florida defense, they're so quick. They talked about, the LSU's people talked about offensively how quick the holes close. Watch how they get off the block and they just move with you and close up any hole that might be there. That's the tough thing about Florida. You see something develop and all of a sudden, bang, it's gone.
McGee right, Davis left. 2nd and 8. Motion by Sam Martin. Wendell Davis. That'll be a first down for the Tigers at the 37-yard line. Tony Jones playing a little soft on the cover. The sophomore out of Tallahassee, and Wendell Davis, if you give him room, will conduct a clinic.
Well, he didn't have all that much room. Hodson super pass right in Wendell's face and right in front of Jones. I'd give him plenty of room, Jim. That's a kid, and they've done a good job, really. He's caught a lot of passes, but they're not giving him the big one, and that's the one LSU wants.
Of time, Hodson unloads safety valve to Brian Kitchen, the tight end. Pat Moore back there in the cover.
And they had single coverage on Kitchen, a double coverage on Davis. What they did is they dragged Kitchen underneath, hoping that he would be free, but Moore did a nice job. The linebacker, they threw under the double coverage there. They're all over Davis.
We told you that Brian's father, Gus, was an end on LSU's 58 championship team. His mother and older brother also went to LSU, and his brother Todd signed on with the Tigers this year. That's the end of the third quarter. We've got 15 minutes left to go in this Southern shootout. Tigers trail by 7. The Tigers 58 yards away from tying up this football game. 2nd and 6. Spotted at their own 42 as Hodson bends in. Sam Martin wrestled down after a pickup of 1. Dickens on the stop. 79,000 strong here in Death Valley. Galen Hall talked about coming in here. He said that calling automatics would be a problem, but beyond that, if his team was in control, the crowd would not be a factor. And he said good teams can go any place and play. After all, we have to go into Auburn, into Jacksonville, into Miami, and we're a poised team.
Two-deep zone, and Martin does a great job of getting open on the inside on the two-deep zone. Exactly where he needs to be. They're hanging on Tom here.
Charlton right there.
And that's just a perfect pass. Now the wind is behind him now. We're in the 4th quarter. And if he wants to open it up long, I'm sure he has the confidence to do it.
The ball just across midfield. 49 yards away from tying it up. They've got a slot to the right. Motion by Martin. With all day can run to the right, needs a receiver to come back and help him out. Incomplete. Wendell Davis out of bounds. Pressure by Henry Brown, number 99. Hodson again with a late start, otherwise he could have galloped for 10.
I want you to watch Sammy Martin, the motion guy, at the top of the screen, and what Hodson did not see. You're going to see the secondary ice zone. Look at the top of the screen. Motion man Hodson. Now watch him go downfield, go right by the defense. He's on the 25. He's got 5 steps. He's got his arm up, and the ball is never thrown to him. You'll see that one again.
2nd and 10. McGee right. Davis left. Hodson fires out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Wendell Davis on a square out. Oliver gave him about a yard. That's all you need with Wendell Davis and Tommy Hodson.
Timing is amazing with these two guys. You wonder why Hodson always goes to Wendell Davis. He threw that ball again. Wendell hadn't even finished his cut. He just bangs right in there, and just they have confidence in each other, tremendous confidence.
Let's talk about timing, whether it's Florida, whether it's here in Baton Rouge, the weather. You can practice football year-round. Talking to Galen Hall about recruiting in Florida, that's why the timing with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, you got all year to practice. You can't do that up north. Hodson out of the pocket. Fires.
He's a different quarterback with the wind behind him, no question. 17-yard gain. He's got all the confidence in the world, thrown off balance, and just able to make this. Now this was a busted play. They had a lot of problems. Their receivers were jammed coming out. As you come out here, you see these guys get jammed and pushed off. But McGee, a good receiver, finds the open spot, and Hodson right on the money again.
You said, Kevin, he's a good receiver. He averages over 15.5 yards per catch. He's a senior here at LSU. screen on 1st and 10 from the 24. Sam Martin didn't like the way he was carrying that football a little loose and it dangling out in the right arm.
Two tight ends and 2 spread receivers. I believe that was the first time they showed that formation. A balanced formation with the 2 tight ends. No lead blockers, but I think it messed up the Florida people a little bit, and they were able to pick up 7 yards.
Line of scrimmage just outside the 17-yard line. 2nd and a long 4. Martin goes the other way. Dives down to the 15. Blocking by 79. Jimmy Hubicks by Ruffin Rodriguez, 68. Jarvis Williams, the hitman. And you talk to the defensive coaches as you watch the hitman here, 26 for Florida. They say he could be a #1 pick, just like Johnny Poe. They also coach.
There's some good blocking here, Jim. Hubicks, just a sophomore, does a nice job riding him outside. And Martin, smart back, knows when to just turn it up, pick up what yardage he can, get nice and low.
3rd and a long 1. Line of LSU exploded off the ball. Nacho Albergamo, the center, number 56. Eric Andelset, number 76, the right guard. Robert Packnett, 79, the right tackle.
You're giving the credit right where it belongs, Jim. They absolutely exploded, and they just carried the Florida defense backwards. Now remember, this is the south end of the field. We talked about the defense, but the fans are a little different in the south end of the field here at LSU, and they will get vocal. Here's where the home field advantage pays off. Just hesitating, and LSU now getting a little bit of balance. Excuse me, Harvey Williams, a great job outside as he just hesitated and then jumped in there and picked up the yardage. He waited for his blocking. It was there. It's been there this entire drive. Williams has been quiet. He'd like to go in here. He's had 2 costly mistakes in this game.
He's the tailback, number 22, the fullback, Victor Jones, 34, and the I-Pro set, double tight, Williams and Kinchin. 2nd and goal from the 2. Harvey Williams in the grasp of Jason Lambert, the sophomore out of Jacksonville.
As you look at Galen Hall, he's got to be sweating this, but you can't say enough about Mike Archer. Even though Williams has had those problems, he's giving him the ball.
You know, after we did his game, Mike Archer's debut, LSU and Texas A&M down in College Park, Mike's mom, Helen, called his son and said, why don't you smile a little bit more? You know you're on TV. First down. Mike Archer's mom, Helen, by the way, works at the engineering library at Penn State. So for Mrs. Archer, Mike will be smiling if he gets a touchdown here.
What do we say? Mike was Galen Hall's water boy. Galen didn't know it. When Galen was a quarterback there, Mike was a water boy going to State College High School.
We're 1 point away from being tied. Harvey Williams makes amends for that first half fumble at the goal line. Dave Browndyke will try and tie things up. We're 10-10 with 10:24 left to go. A 14-play drive capped off by Harvey Williams, high kicking it into the end zone.
I said this was not a physical offensive line. They were on this drive, and Williams was absolutely as good as he could be. Everybody holding their blocks, and Harvey high-stepping it into the end zone from behind the offense. High formation, it's power, and this is power. LSU just pushing people around, and Williams with a great leg strength. He's in, and we're tied.
You look like you after the horseradish sauce at the Oyster Bar the other night. We'll be right back.
This is a public announcement.
79,000 here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. SEC football at its finest. CFA action on ESPN. Kerry Watkins is back deep. Now, did he catch the ball at the 1 and back in? That's a touchback.
It's a question of momentum, and the official hesitated because I think he was thinking what you were thinking.
He was thinking about it, and Mike Archer was thinking about it. Did he catch the ball at the 1 and then backpedal in, or did he catch it at the goal line?
Well, the question is whether the ball, the impact of the ball and his momentum carries him into the end zone, and it is, in fact, a judgment call. If he hesitates, well, we freeze it. If he hesitates right there, it is a safety. But he didn't hesitate. He went right in.
That was a close one. 80 yards away, the Gators begin. 10-21, Kerwin Bell up top. A reception at the 27-yard line by Walter Odom, the tight end. Now, Kerwin Bell is throwing into the wind.
Well, the tables are turned now. Remember, in the third quarter, LSU ineffective on offense. They were thrown into a big stiff wind. Now Florida has that problem.
That's the first completion, by the way, for Kerwin Bell this half. 2nd and 3. Lomack in motion. So's Emmitt Smith. Look out. That's a first down at the 37-yard line. Darren Marlborough on the stop. The senior out of Metairie, Louisiana.
LSU's playing that even front. They're trying to contain him, but their linebackers are stacking behind their tackles, and they're not getting to the hole. Now here's Emmitt. Emmitt's just feeling his way, looking for a seam. Bang, he sees the seam, he's up into it, and goes for the first down. If they're going to play over the guards, the linebackers have got to fill those gaps. They're not doing it.
Marlborough, who made the tackle, is down at the 38-yard line. Clock is stopped, 9:38 left to go. Florida 10, LSU 10. We take time out.
It's embarrassing to admit.
9:38 left to go. We're knotted up 10-all. The Gators and the Tigers. Wide to the right, Tony Lomack. Wide to the left, Stacy Simmons. Kerwin Bell on 1st and 10. Gives it off to Smith again up near the 39 in the grasp of Tommy Clapp. Kind of a precarious situation for LSU's defense as we check some scores. And BC's got back on top over Pitt. Jack Bicknell. That's a final, so BC wins. Cowboy Jack into the win column. Talk about the LSU defense. You can't really blitz Kerwin Bell, because if you do, he can burn you badly with a long pass. He's got a great arm. And you have to always be aware of where that freshman is, number 22, Emmitt Smith.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to give up a big play. They can play base defense, and they should.
Intercepted by Carrier. Walter Odom, the tight end, was open, and Chris Carrier, number 11, comes up with a key turnover.
The play was made by Sancho. Carrier gets the interception, but Sancho is all over Odom. He slows him down. That ball was thrown on the mark, but they were able to slow down Odom. Middle of your screen, at the bottom of your screen, Sancho, he's behind him now, but he held him up. And when he held him up, he couldn't get to the ball, and Carrier was able to come in and make the play. That play was made by Sancho, the outside linebacker. Great job.
9 interceptions last year for Carrier. 1st and 10 Tigers. They start from their own 34. Sam Martin down at the 37. Clock running, 8:38. More scores. Texas coming back against Rice. Rice was ahead by a field goal. Arkansas falling big for the 2nd week in a row. Baylor and Houston tied. The Trojans of USC on top by 2 touchdowns. Scores and highlights with our game day host, Tim Brando. Long day for Timmy. It starts at 11:30 Eastern time with Kerry Ross and Bino Cook. How'd Bino do today? He had Army against Wake Forest, but Wake Forest won. Bell, frustration after that interception. He'll get another chance. Lots of time. Look at the trap blocking on the right for Sammy Martin. First down. And a penalty flag is down as well. A 16-yard pickup. Louis Oliver on the stop. And it's a penalty against the Florida Gators. Personal foul against Florida. Watch the blocking on the right side by 76 and 74.
Well, here's the home field advantage and the momentum. Kinchin, 49, block it down. They lead on Charlton and run right at him. So he gets no pursuit. Martin goes up inside, and they stay with the block. Martin having a big fourth quarter, as is Harvey Williams, and now LSU on the ground getting that balance and pushing the Gators around.
Penalties starting to even up. That last call against Jarvis Hitman Williams. Martin, 13 carries, 58 yards, 9 and 47 this half. 9 carries, 47 yards this half. Play action fake. Hodson will come back against the grain. Dangerous pass is caught at the 25 by Kitchen, the tight end. Oh, he almost threw that one right into the middle of that Gator defense. Mark Murray was right there. Hodson, poised. Big night.
He's a different quarterback in the fourth quarter. Ever since they turned around with the wind at their back, he's had confidence, poise. He's looked like he did in the early part of the game when he went 10 straight without throwing one incomplete.
Moss at the bottom of the screen, wide to the right. Sam Martin breaks another tackle. First and goal at the 2. Jarvis Williams saved the touchdown. A 22-yard run. And Martin did most of that on his own after the blocking by Andosek and Patton.
Well, the man that's missing for Florida is the middle guard, Roth, and they're just murdering him up in the middle. Look how he cuts back right into that middle section and then outside. It's a nice job by Martin, but without Roth, the Florida Gators are not the same team defensively, and they're just getting hammered up the middle.
Harvey Williams, number 22, and a tailback in motion over on that left side by Rogie McGee, who jumped offside. Instead of being first and goal from the 2, it's first and goal from the 7. We talked about the LSU mistakes. They've been penalized all night. 2 personal fouls, a fumble on the goal line.
Dead ball.
Well, that's that south end, remember. That's very vocal down there. May not be able to hear the signals.
There are the difference in penalties. 9 called against the Tigers for almost 80 yards. Mike Archer, 33 years of age, on his knees. Got his first batch of hate mail after the Ohio State game. He said he answered every one if they left a name and a return address. Williams turned inside by Henry Brown.
Nothing there on the goal line. You run into the boundary. They ran on the short side of the field, and Brown so quick getting off the block and running it. There just wasn't enough football field to run it.
There is Galen Hall. We talked about Mike Archer's mom. Galen's mom is 73 years young, Grace. She said that Galen is a very quiet leader. He's not a showboat, a strong competitor when he was a youngster. Didn't want to be in the limelight. Williams does. Bang backwards at the 10. 3rd and goal coming up. Let's look from behind the offense now.
A lot of times I talked about Sancho making a play, creating an interception. Watch Reuter to the left of your screen take down all of the blocking and then get a piece of Williams' leg. Number 47 still flailing away. He made the play. He made the play. He's the guy that piled it up, let everybody else come in and clean it up.
Question. Last week, a tie against Ohio State after an interception. Do you put the ball up here? Do you stay conservative and take the field goal? You take the field goal. They put it right in the center of the field. Williams rambles down. Odom on the stop. The fans are booing, but this would be a chip shot field goal, and they positioned it perfectly right in the center of the uprights.
Well, I have to laugh because last week they booed and they complained when he tried to go into the end zone and threw the interception, and now he goes for the field goal, Mike Archer speaking of, and we get boos. It just shows you that either way you're going to catch some flack. I just hope he kicks this field goal for Mike's sake.
Leonard Valentine will hold. A 24-yard try is perfect. Browndyke bangs it through for a 3-point LSU lead, but there's still lots of time left for the Gators. Galen Hall, 5:34 to go. He knows we've got a long way to go, and so does Mike Archer.
Tonight,
Jim Kelly and Kevin Kiley back with you on ESPN, our Saturday doubleheader. Scores and highlights with Tim Brando coming up at the end of the day. It all starts with game day at 11:30 Eastern time. Back deep, Kerry Watkins, number 4. Ron Lewis out of New Orleans will tee it up at the 35. Tigers lead by 3. 5.5 to go. It is deep, it is end over end, and it is Kerry Watkins at the 4. A wall in front, and he is banged backwards and gang tackled at the 19-yard line. Now is where the crowd will get into the football game. For the Tigers, after that interception by Chris Carrier, they go 59 yards in 8 plays. Browndyke's 24-yard field goal, the difference in the game. How about Sam Martin, Kevin Kiley? He rushed for 41 of the 59 yards on that drive.
LSU definitely established the running game here in the 4th quarter, and a couple of passes by Hodson set it up.
Darren Marlborough, number 90, is back in. Defensively for LSU. Motion by Ernie Mills, the freshman. Here comes the other freshman off right tackle. And Marlborough's got him, Emmitt Smith. 5:17 and counting. Boston College a win over Pittsburgh. We'll see the Panthers next week against Notre Dame. Rutgers has gone up on top over Duke in the 4th. Cornell by a touchdown against Lafayette. Virginia no problem against VMI. Purdue's got a 2-point problem against the Gophers at the Dome in Minnesota. Smith explodes across the 25 to the 27. 3rd and short coming up. Darrell Phillips grasped him from behind.
You have to feel for Kerwin Bell. They've got a problem here. The wind is a problem. His receivers have not caught the ball well. That's a problem, and he's running out of time, down by 3 points.
Willie Snead wide to the right. Ernie Mills wide to the left on 3rd and 2. Bell wants it over the middle. It's clogged. Now he gets it out, and he finds the freshman. That's a first down for Florida at the 34-yard line. Out of the backfield. Took a long time to set it up. Nicky Hazard, 48 on the coverage.
Yeah, it would be Nicky. The toughest guy to cover is that last back out in the I formation. If they have time to get this guy out, it's the middle linebacker's responsibility. And you see the strength of the freshman just popping Hazard and getting him loose, creating enough space for himself to make that first down. Another good play by Smith.
Bell, 8 of 17, 57 yards, 1 interception. That led to the go-ahead field goal. Airborne. Out of the backfield. At the 39-yard line goes Anthony Williams. There's our time left. Eric Hill on the coverage. 3:45 and counting.
Well, you see the philosophy of the Gators now. They've had problems going to the wide receivers. They've had passes drop, and they're going to those backs, those short-handed backs, the short passes, the easy high percentage passes, trying to work their way up the field and play against time.
Said that to call an audible or an automatic was tough playing in Death Valley. No problem. Look out. There goes Willie Snead for another first down at the 46-yard line of LSU. Darrell Phillips, the nose tackle, came over to make the tackle after a pickup of 14 yards.
Well, pro scouts drool over this type of thing. A Bell comes to the line of scrimmage. He immediately sees the coverage. He knows that they're going to roll it the other way. He's going to have a short little pass on the weak side. Now watch him. He knows right where he's going. He's called the audible. The coverage isn't there, and they're able to complete it.
Almost the same pattern they ran before with Odom, the tight end. This time it's Willie Snead who was wide open, and again Bell misfired.
Short arm that pass, Jim. He's into the wind. He looks like Hodson looked. He looks like he just doesn't have the confidence to fire the thing in the wind because he's afraid it might sail. And he short-armed it, and it just wasn't close.
Galen Hall inherited a team that was 1-1-1 back in '84. All sorts of limitations and diversions. Took over on an interim basis. And has turned the program at Florida around in 3 short years. Blitz. Sancho and Jackson. And 79,000 in agreement.
LSU LSU rarely blitzes. They don't like to take chances. They did here. Their secondary did a great job on coverage. He's got the pass if he wants it, but the coverage is there, and here comes the blitz. He's got no chance.
There's a timeout on the field with 2:44 left to go. 3rd and 11 when we come back.
Medicare.
There'll be some Bud and Suds in Baton Rouge tonight if this 3-point lead holds up. Galen Hall faced with the call of the game. 3rd and 17. He won't get it all. Penalty flag is down, and so is Bell at the 45. Darren Marlborough on the stop. Flag is against the Florida Gators. Clipping against Florida. Bell still needed 7 more yards for the first down.
Clipping on an offensive team during the run.
Let's see if it's 75. Richard Starwiski.
There it is on Phillips. And no need there either, because Bell should be able to outrun the nose guard.
Timeouts remaining.
It's a big penalty because you're playing field position here, down by 3. Even if Florida had to kick the ball and try to get it back and kick a field goal, they just gave up 15 yards and they're into the wind.
3rd and 30. Go down to the fire hydrant and turn left. Safety valves it out. They'll go to the freshman Emmitt Smith, and he breaks it to midfield. It'll bring up 4th and about 13. Now with 2:06 left to go after that 16-yard pickup, do you go for it on 4th down, or do you turn the ball over and hope your defense can force a turnover or get it back? There's a penalty flag to be checked out. It's way back in the backfield, and it's against LSU. And this could give the Florida Gators
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, first down.
A first down.
It's going to be called on Eric Hill, number 54. Bell stationary, not moving around, and that is roughing the passer. No reason for that. That's a tough penalty.
2:06 to go. Another costly penalty. Tigers have hurt themselves all night. Smith dives across the 35, maybe to the 34. Darrell Phillips has him there. Now keep in mind that the place kicker for Florida has already kicked a 50-yard field goal tonight. That is Robert McGinty.
That was early in the game, Jim, and the wind was not as stiff as it is now. Hey, Darrell Phillips looks like a fun guy to play with. He's jumping all over the place and making plays.
95 seconds left to go in the game. Motion by the left side of that Florida front. Dave Williams, the junior out of Lakeland, Florida, might have moved. So that will back up the Florida Gators 5 yards.
I think it was Odom, Jim. I think it was a tight end. And LSU defense jumped right into that neutral zone as soon as he moved.
Dead ball, false start, offense.
Out of Fletcher High School in Neptune Beach, Florida, where he only kicked as a senior in '82, Robert McGinty, biting his nails.
I wouldn't have any fingers if I was a field goal kicker.
Ran soccer and track in high school. His coach was Mike McCann, and he could have a chance to tie up this game in less than a minute. 2nd and 14. Bell back, wide open. Nice move inside the 30 goes Smith. How good can Emmitt Smith be? Galen Hall, for 18 years, an assistant at Oklahoma, had some great running backs. Billy Sims, Greg Pruitt, Steve Owens, Elvis Peacock, Joe Washington. And Galen told us last night, he said this young freshman can be as good as any of those. He just needs game experience. He's still very young.
The high backs are different from option backs, too. Option backs are running around. It's always wide open for them. The high back's a tough kid running inside.
3rd and 2. Gators, of course, are going for the win. And Emmitt Smith is going for the end zone. Inside the 15 to the 14. Chris Carrier brought him down.
They've had problems with this thing all night. Emmitt Smith picks seams so well, and they were scared to death of it. He's done it all night tonight. The blocking is there, but it doesn't have to be great blocking. Here's that sprint out, little isolation on Hill. He gets an arm. Arm's not going to bring down this freshman. There's 2 arms gone, and Carrier finally cleaning it up.
1st and 10, just inside the 15-yard line, and Smith barrels across that left side with blocking by Williams and Sims. Smith on the night, 192 yards rushing, 24 yards receiving, 219 yards total.
You got to give some credit to Sims and Daniels and Starweski and Davis and Dave Williams. And what a job they're doing here late in the game. Their passing game just hadn't been hitting on all cylinders. Bell hasn't had receivers he's wanted to catch the ball. They just haven't done a good job of it, and they are running the ball right down to 42 seconds left and getting themselves in position.
Timeouts left. The Gators with 1, the Tigers with 3. 42 seconds left to go. Lots of strategy here. If the Gators don't get it in and they're looking at 2nd down and 8, McGinty would have what appears to be a chip shot field goal for the tie. 42 seconds left, and you're about 12 yards away from a touchdown to go ahead. It's a tough SEC battle.
This is the same. Is this not the same choice that Mike Archer faced? Although I believe that game was tied last week. Now he has, Galen Hall has a similar choice. Should he try for the end zone? Take a chance at the end zone with a possibility of an interception. That's why coaches play golf together, so they can talk about the things that happen to them.
Haven't seen the reverse. They've got a flea flicker they can run. Bell looks over that Tiger defense. Sack at the 21 by Tommy Clapp and Ron Sancho, but they're still within field goal range. Gators will take apparently their last timeout. Now what do you do? After that loss of 10, it's 3rd and about 18. Do you bring the ball into the center of the field and set it up a little bit for that man?
Well, I would believe that they would bring it to the center of the field if they decide on this play that they're going to go for a field goal. They're going to set up a field goal. I thought that Bell had 3 choices on that play. He had a choice to throw it away, run out of bounds, or take the sack, 4 choices, or try to complete a pass. And he took the worst of the 3 or 4 choices by getting sacked. He could have saved a timeout by running out of bounds.
And if you're Galen Hall, do you risk putting the ball up on 3rd and 17, risk an interception, or do you give it to your super freshman? See if he can break it big.
LSU's got a problem here. They don't know whether to play. If they play pass and they play soft, Smith is big enough, strong enough, and quick enough to break a little draw and go into the end zone, so they have to be careful of that. They also have to be careful of the pass defense to make sure that Florida doesn't get in the end zone. I'd be very aware of the backs. They've had more success throwing to the backs than they have the wide receivers in this game.
I'd send everybody after Bell and Smith. He'll want the end zone. Incomplete. Bell wisely threw it out of bounds. Nobody was open in the right corner of the end zone. So it comes to the young man out of Fletcher High School in Neptune Beach, Florida, the senior place kicker, Robert McGinty. He kicked a 51-yarder against Auburn, his former school. He transferred from Auburn after missing a field goal. And now, timeout LSU. They'll let him think about it. 19 seconds left to go. We billed it as a Southern shootout. It's going right down to the wire.
The Noles and Canes renew their classic rivalry in a pivotal ACC showdown. Florida State Miami or USC Stanford. Saturday at 8 on ABC.
The ball will be spotted at about the 27-yard line. Tack on the 10 of the end zone. It's a 37-yard try for Robert McGinty. He kicked a 50-yarder to give Florida a 3-0 lead. No good. No flags. a flag, perhaps for a celebration after the missed field goal. McGinty misses from 37 yards out. LSU leads by 3, 13-10 with 15 seconds left.
Contact foul, celebrating on the field of play on his purple tee.
Another look at the 37-yard try to tie.
This ball did not have the force, obviously, of the 51-yarder. It kind of floated. The hole was fine. He just kind of popped it up in the air, and it was wide.
We talked at the top of the telecast about this being the 34th meeting between these two great SEC schools. Watch it now. It'll just go by that left upright. It was wide the whole way. LSU holds a 17-13-3 edge in the previous 33 games. The last time there was a tie, it was right here at Tiger Stadium. It was in 1984, and that game marked the debut of Bill Arnsparger as the Tiger coach. Bill Arnsparger now the athletic director at Florida. LSU 13, Florida 10. A terrific battle in the SEC. It went right down to the wire. A tough one for that man, Galen Hall.
Airing time